So I want to turn to the Democrats, though, now. Stephen, with you, just a week until the primary here in New York, Hillary Clinton is beating Bernie Sanders by an average, it looks like now, of about 14 points. Looking at it mathematically, is New York make or break for Sanders? What's your take?
Depending on what you want the math to say. If you're talking about Bernie Sanders winning the Democratic nomination, absolutely it's make or break. Not only does he need to win, but he needs to win by a pretty significant margin in order to gain some ground among pledged delegates, not super delegates, pledged delegates, where he trails very badly by about 250 pledged delegates. As far as his momentum, though, he is almost neck and neck now with Hillary Clinton in the polls nationally. And what you could end up seeing here, if he does well between New York, some of the other Northeastern states, and then moving into May, some states that look good for him, like West Virginia, and then into California on June 7th, is if his momentum continues, we could end up in a situation in June when all the voting is over. Hillary Clinton has more pledged delegates than Bernie Sanders. She certainly has more superdelegates than Bernie Sanders. But Bernie Sanders might be the preferred choice of a majority of Democrats in national polls, and yet Hillary Clinton has won the nomination. So we could be headed into this really awkward time for Democrats. That said, if Hillary Clinton can win New York and win it by about the 15-point margin she's leading now, she can sort of stunt Bernie Sanders' momentum, maybe take that into Connecticut, take that into Pennsylvania, win there, and sort of put away the nomination for good.
Philip, I want to ask you, though, your take. You wrote an article about Bernie Sanders. You don't seem to think he has a shot.
I don't think he has a shot, really. I mean, it is very much the case that Bernie Sanders is going to try very hard to close the gap in New York State. But the point that was just made about pledged delegates is absolutely correct. There's almost no way he can make up that pledged delegate lead unless he has huge wins in big states. And right now, he's trailing California, he's trailing Pennsylvania, he's trailing in New York, and he's trailing in New Jersey. He needs to win in all those states and win by big margins. It's just not going to happen. And I think that if the process comes down to the Democratic convention and the argument Bernie Sanders tries to make is ignore the first half of the primary calendar, ignore all of those states which had large African-American turnout that went for Hillary Clinton, ignore all of them because I did well in the latter half, and that's if he actually makes up some of the pledged delegate count by winning in New York, which doesn't seem likely. If that's his argument, that's a very tough argument for the Democratic Party to embrace.
Okay, something I want to talk about here briefly, Stephen, with you. A bit of an off-color joke with Hillary Clinton over the weekend when she performed a skit with New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio. Let's take a listen.
I just have to say, thanks for the endorsement, Bill. Took you long enough.
Oh, snap!
Sorry, Hillary. I was running on CP time.
That's not, I don't like jokes like that, Bill. That's not funny.
Cautious politician time. I've been there.
So people have called this awkward, cringeworthy. They say it's a blunder. Stephen, could this be just what the Sanders campaign needs to pull even more in New York?
I don't know. It's the inner circle dinner. They do these skits all the time, and the jokes. You know, there are no sacred cows, especially in New York, where the jokes have a sharper edge. That said, I think it's pretty clear both Hillary Clinton and Bill de Blasio understood in the moment that it was a mistake. Bill de Blasio should have just joked about the fact he's late all the time, which is true. Look, Hillary Clinton has built her lead among pledged delegates, among all voters, largely on thanks to support in the African-American community. They make up a significant portion of the New York electorate, particularly in and around New York City. It's an area, it's a group that she's expected to do well in. Bernie Sanders really hasn't broken the 30% barrier among black voters in any state thus far, where there have been exit polls. So, you know, if he can make some inroads there, potentially, I don't know how much this one off-color joke that Hillary Clinton didn't even tell will really make the difference there.
All right, Philip Bump and Stephen Shepard, thanks so much for being with us, guys.
You got it.
Thank you.